Bad financial habits often build up over time, and one day we wake up and ask ourselves, how on earth did we manage to build up so much debt and almost zero retirement savings? The trick is to be extremely careful, but that's not all there is to it. That's why we're going to show you 10 terrible money habits that you should avoid at all costs, because they prevent you from getting where you want to be in life. Let's dive right in. Number 10. Relying on only one source of income. For most people, having just one source of income is all they've ever known. This usually comes from a 9-to-5 when you're living paycheck to paycheck. Unfortunately, despite what many of us might think, jobs aren't always secure. In reality, more than 21 million U.S. workers were laid off in 2018, which means that if their job was their only source of income, they all went broke pretty soon. You should picture yourself as a tree when it comes to your sources of revenue. Does a tree grow fruit from just one branch? No, it doesn't. In fact, trees have several branches that grow fruits and flowers. Similarly, you should also branch out and pick up new skills so you can make your money work for you. This is a sensible and reliable way to get some well-deserved sleep at night. Naturally, each person's bad habits have different solutions. Either way, the first step in breaking a terrible habit is admitting that you need to change your behavior, like with any bad habit. If you notice yourself hurting your financial stability on a day-to-day basis, it's time to pause and reassess your spending habits. The realization that your actions are damaging your hopes of getting financial freedom might be the motivation you need to make the necessary changes. Number 9. Not having a budget. Everyone believes they know where their money is going or coming from, but most of the time they're completely wrong. The smaller things are what usually drain your wallet more than the important big things do, and we think we know this, but most of the time we don't. Starting to keep a notebook for all of your earnings and cash outflows, no matter how big or small, is a brilliant idea. You'll be a lot more prepared to control your finances this way. Maybe you're already keeping track of everything, but it's possible you're also falling behind because you don't have a budget. And having one is the foundation of financial success. The reason why is because it's very easy to get carried away at times and go past your budget. Number 8. Taking interest-free loans. Stores with no-interest loans are essentially drawing in potential debtors and encouraging them to spend more money than they can, similar to credit cards that offer points and benefits. The terrible thing here is that a lot of people who take advantage of these deals won't pay off their loans before the interest-free period expires, at which point they're usually hit with fines and even retroactive interest from the apparently interest-free period. Always remember that unless you pay off your interest-free loans before the grace period ends, they're not exactly free as they're advertised. It's a trap. Don't fall for it. Number 7. Avoiding your debt. Even the idea of paying off a nearly unending amount of debt can make you shudder, so for many people, avoiding it entirely is their favorite choice for debt management. Neglecting your debt is probably one of the biggest red flags. This could be anything like avoiding phone calls from creditors or letting your bills pile up, and that really isn't the way to go. Although you don't have to like your debt, you do need to accept it. In the end, the more familiar you are with your debt, the easier it'll be to deal with it. The solution is to work out payment options after you know how much you owe. If you have a lot of debt from multiple different creditors, pay off your fixed expenses like utilities before concentrating on the account with the lowest balance. Paying it off may make it seem more doable and give you the inspiration you need to go on the next balance. Number 6. Becoming a victim of lifestyle inflation. You probably assume that as you age, your financial situation will improve from what it was when you were a young adult. Your ability to make money can be impacted by a promotion, a better job, and even inevitable economic inflation. However, how people manage the gap between their income and expenses is what separates those who are successful in increasing their wealth from others who struggle constantly. It's tempting, to use these gains in income to purchase a brand new home or go on a vacation or even boost your daily spending, but doing that could bring you back to the drawing board. For instance, who's really in a better financial situation if Becky makes $150,000 a year and spends $175,000 compared to John's $60,000 a year and $45,000 in expenses? John makes less money, but wages aren't the only thing that goes into building wealth. What matters is how you handle your finances. Unfortunately, for most people, earning more money and climbing up the corporate ladder at work come naturally with lifestyle inflation, but this is only acceptable if you're living within your means. It becomes a concern if you start taking on debt to support a particular way of life. Keep your precious financial freedom safe by only spending what you can afford. Number 5. Expecting a miracle. People who are always having financial issues usually think that trying to fix their finances would need a financial miracle. But you won't ever be able to escape debt by hitting the lottery, receiving a gift from a wealthy family, or having the best job in the world fall into your lap. This way of thinking is dangerous because it pulls you out of a position of power. You hand over control of your finances and emotionally distance yourself from your debt when you wait for someone else to come and rescue you like a Prince Charming on his mighty steed with his hair flowing in the wind. Of course, it goes without saying that you alone are responsible for your credit, debt, and way of life, and only you can find a solution. One of the keys to successful money management is being in control. There are obviously a lot of things in life that you can't control, but it's easy to become discouraged when things aren't going your way, so avoid that. For example, you don't have much control over the economy or the employment market now, do you? Allow yourself the opportunity to settle on something you can control to avoid feeling beaten. One easy way you could improve your financial future is by making a choice to save. Number 4. Relying on retail therapy. Some people find spending money therapeutic, while others choose to exercise or listen to music to unwind. Similar to other things like drugs, going to clubs, and even eating chocolate, shopping can actually release endorphins in the brain. Unfortunately, spending money to make yourself feel good can turn into an addiction just like those 3 things. That's because shopping establishes a link between happiness and getting materialistic things when you shop to elevate your mood. And that link can be extremely tough to break. So how bad is it? Well, according to a 2016 study by Ebates, 96% of adults and 95% of teenagers lean toward retail therapy. It goes without saying that you're not alone in this. Shopping addictions are real and can be super challenging to overcome. We're by no means saying that shopping is bad, of course it's not, but there's a fine line between shopping for your needs and shopping for the fun of it. Doing it isn't a good thing if financial freedom is what you're really after. If you've had a bad day, it's probably better to make yourself something that doesn't break the bank. Go for a hike, reduce your stress, and get that dopamine hit properly instead of wasting your money in shopping malls. Number 3. Keeping up with the Kardashians. It is often said by real estate professionals that it's better to have the worst house on the best street than the best property on the worst street. The desire to live in the nicest house on the best street can sometimes overcome your financial sense when your neighbors seem like they have it all. Keeping up with the Kardashians or competing against influencers, neighbors, or friends can lead you to overspend. While some people just don't care about trying to live up to other standards, it can be a serious problem for some people. When a relative buys a new car or house, goes on an expensive vacation, or simply wears fancy jewelry, it can set off jealousy that leads to bad financial decisions. Always remember that success is difficult to gauge from the outside. Remind yourself of your priorities and objectives when you see a neighbor arriving in a brand new shiny car. Nobody can see the balance of your retirement account, but you know that by adding money to it instead of buying that new watch, you have your eye on ensuring you have a financially secure future. Number 2. Using credit cards. Not every reward credit card is bad. In fact, some of them have a place in your wallet when used wisely. But there's a reason why credit card companies offer all these benefits, and it's not at all because they're generous. In simpler words, rewards motivate you to spend more. According to an American Economic Association study, using a rewards or point-based credit card with a 1% return alone increases monthly spending by $68 and total credit card debt by $115 a month. That hunt for points suddenly doesn't seem like such a smart move now, does it? Even though you might get some cash back on your purchase, many cards have strict regulations. You might not be getting back as much as you think thanks to annual caps and higher cashback rates that are only available on a limited number of purchases like groceries and gas. So it's not worth it to increase your debt any further just to earn those ridiculous credit card points. Number 1. Impulse buying. People who are constantly struggling with money tend to buy things whether they are on sale or not, even if it wasn't their original plan. In reality, impulsive purchases can run you into a lot of financial trouble. First off, a lot of people will excuse these impulsive purchases by claiming that they earned it from all their hard work or that it's more of a need than a want. Most of the time, it isn't. Like the new iPhone 14 Pro you just bought when last year's model was perfectly fine. Secondly, when these impulsive purchases are made with a credit card, it's possible that you might not be able to pay it back, and you could be digging a deeper debt hole than the one you're already in. Last but not least, it becomes much harder to stick to your spending budget because of all these foolish purchases that you probably didn't even need in the first place. Now, don't get us wrong, an impulse purchase from time to time won't exactly derail your chance of ever becoming wealthy, but if you buy things on credit, the debt begins to pile up when you're way off your budget. So it's better to buy only what you need. Avoid all these terrible habits, and before you know it, you'll notice a big change in your financial situation and be able to see your bank balance growing day after day.